All right, let's take a trip back to the summer of 2008, where MTV still played music videos, ICQ and MySpace was the social hotspot, and being awkward was practically a personality trait. Meet Chris Wang, aka DD, your classic 13-year-old Asian kid from Fremont, California. You can see he likes doing pranks with his friends, making videos, and uploading to YouTube. Maybe not so different from today, I guess, just with dial-up internet. He lives with his mom, Chung Sing, older sister Vivian, and their Nai. During this family dinner scene, we learn that Chris and Vivian's father stays in Taiwan for work, and that Vivian is heading for college soon when the summer ends. Also, we get a full display of Chris and Vivian bickering and at each other's throats. As the summer starts, Chris gets invited to go to a party, where his crush, Maddie, will be at. He quickly did a little internet sleuthing and finds out what music Maddie is into. He goes into his sister's room and snags a Paramore t-shirt, all hoping to score points with Maddie. Chris joins Fahad and Soup to a party at their friend Hardeep's house. At night, the kids at the party are watching Superbad, and when Chris needs to take a leak, he goes upstairs and finds a room where Maddie and her friend are hanging out. Maddie notices Chris's shirt and asks if he wants to chill. Chris is a bit awkward around Maddie, but she seems to take a liking to him and suggests he add her on Facebook. Chris agrees, but waits until the girls aren't looking so he can leave. Chris joins Facebook and tries talking to Maddie. When she asked what movie he likes, he creeps her profile and says he liked the film A Walk to Remember as a way to break the ice with her, even though he's never seen it and didn't even realize it's a chick flick. Chris goes by the skate park and meets 3 boys, Donovan, Corey, and Nugget. He admires their moves and offers to film their skate moves, pretending like he has experience filming his friends. Donovan agrees to let Chris join them to film, so the boy runs home and deletes any embarrassing videos he made with Fahad and Soup so they don't think he's a dork. Chungsing is in her happy place, surrounded by her colorful paintings that capture her kids' daily antics. But just when we think it's all rainbows and sunshine, she opens a letter from a national art competition. But it's a rejection letter. Chris wants to text Maddie, and his friend Fahad grabs his phone and sends silly but flirtatious texts that score Chris a chance to hang out with Maddie. They hang out by the playground and talk for a bit. Maddie initiates the nervous game for them to play, with her moving her hand closer to him and asking if he is nervous. When it looks like she might kiss him, Chris admits that he is nervous, and Maddie stops. Later, when she tries to talk to him again, Chris is too ashamed to admit that he was embarrassed to talk to her, and he blocks her on AM. When he comes home, Vivian makes a comment toward him, and he coldly tells her he hates her and can't wait for her to leave. Chris hangs out with the skaters during their free time, attempting to film them, but getting bad angles or fuzzy footage. He Googles how to film skate videos, or skate slang to say. Basically, figuring it out as he goes. Generally, having a good time and feeling like he kinda belong. At one point, they are told to leave by a security guard. Chris tries to film as Donovan messes with the guard and spitefully does a grind off a rail. Chris goes out with Fahad, plus 2 other girls, Ellie and Jade. While Fahad is naturally outgoing, Chris is very quiet. When Ellie asks if he has any funny stories, Chris brings up a time when he was with Fahad, Soup, and Hardeep, and they came across a dead squirrel, which is already making Fahad uncomfortable. While playing around with the squirrel, Hardeep swung it by its tail, and the tail ripped off. The boys ended up putting the dead squirrel in an old lady's mailbox and blew it up. The girls are put off by the story, and Chris makes it worse by jokingly calling one of them a dumb bitch. Jade's mom picks them up and they say they are going to a party, but they pretend there isn't enough room in the car, so Chris won't join them. He later sees their pics on Facebook and is noticeably not mentioned. Days pass. Chris joins Donovan, Corey, and Nugget at a party with older kids. He drinks alcohol, eats something laced with drugs, and gets high with the boys. He even swallows the end of a joint, a roach, to cough out smoke, which makes the other boys take a liking to him. In an effort to come off more interesting, Chris mentioned that is half Asian. However, Chris gets too high and starts to experience a vivid hallucination. He starts throwing up at home, with Vivian helping him and covering for him when their mom asks what's happening. Vivian later leaves for college, bidding her little brother farewell. Chris now finds himself alone. He tries to talk to Fahad again, but he checks his MySpace top 8 friends and doesn't see himself on Fahad's page. While out by himself, Chris is approached by another classmate, Josh. He makes fun of Chris for not kissing Maddie before leaving. Chris responds by hitting him in the back with his skateboard and then punching Josh in the face. After dealing with Josh's parents, Chung-sing picks Chris up, but he explodes on her and aggressively curses at his mother, saying he is embarrassed to be her son and expressing anger over how she compares him to his more successful cousin. Chris ends up running from the car and goes to the playground to cool off. When Chris returns home, Chung-sing conciliates him by recounting how Vivian also ran away from home when she was 14, and that, as much as she likes to paint, her children are her true dream. The skaters come over to Chris's house to check out the footage he shot for them. They end up unimpressed with how janky the footage looks, especially how Chris completely failed to get the shot of Donovan after arguing with the security guard. Chung-sing comes in and greets Chris's friends, and they even compliment her artwork. They remember Chris mentioning that he was half Asian, so Donovan asked if Chris's dad is white. Flustered, Chris ends up shoving his mother out of the room and telling her to stop bothering them. The other boys are put off by Chris's attitude towards his mom, and they decide that he sucks, so they leave. Feeling like Fahad isn't his BFF, ghosting Maddie, and now the skate bros kinda turned off by him, Chris is feeling mega lonely. He goes AIM to talk to the bot Smarter Child, where he says that he fucks everything up and how everyone hates him. The school year begins as Chris and everyone else starts high school. He sees Maddie and goes to try and talk to her. Chris apologizes for not writing back to her, but when he asks if they can hang out again, she brings up how he punched Josh in the face, and he understands that she is not interested anymore. When Chris goes to sign up for a visual arts club, he sees both Fahad and Soup, who greet him warmly, indicating that they might still be friends. The film ends after Chung-sing picks up Chris from school, and they quietly have dinner together while Nai Nai sleeps in her room.